A few weeks ago, I tweeted out this picture of the official PUBG Battlegrounds board game that I found while I was out in a mall at Bangkok with one of my friends. And it seemed like a lot of people were pretty interested because they've never heard of this thing before and they kind of want to see how it works. So I got together with some of my friends out in Thailand who kindly brought along their copy of the game so we can take a little bit of a look at how this thing works, and it's actually pretty good. The PUBG Battlegrounds board game was allegedly released in 2023 by Krafton and Gemblo and actually does a pretty good job at simulating the Battle Royale environment from the game itself. It can be played from anywhere up to 6 players, including potential for a solo mode, and comes with 2 map variants that will be extremely familiar to anyone who has played PUBG even a long time ago in 2017-2018, with Erangel and Miramar both being playable options. The overarching premise of the game is exactly the same as in the PC version. You land, you loot, and you do your best to survive, and the game tries to do absolutely everything in its power to make that borderline impossible for you. All players start with a player mat, which is where you store your equipment, your weapons, and your items, and also contains information about your health and your stamina. And your location on the map is represented by one of 6 actually pretty well designed miniatures, all of which are designed after some pretty OG character designs from the original days of PUBG Battlegrounds. So sorry K-pop fans, no aespa skins here, but if you're a fan of the Banana Man or that cool trench coat that everyone loved in Season 1, you can use that in this game. The game progression board sits at the top of the map and serves as a nice little place to stack your decks of weapons, equipment, items, and supply drops, and also contains information about how the game itself will move forward, because just like in the PC version of the game, there is the blue zone that not only shrinks in size but ramps up in damage and reduces the amount of actions per turn you can take to simulate the game speeding up as it approaches the climactic ending. This is represented on your player mat with the stamina wheel in the bottom right. In the early phases of the game, you start off with 4 stamina per turn, but as it progresses, you will lose progressively more until you end up starting your turn with only 2 actions. The player mat also has a little slot to put your helmet and vest, which you can adjust to simulate how much damage you've taken to its durability. The maps both feature a coordinate-based grid system, which determines everything from your drop spots, supply drop locations, and where the blue zone ends up shifting to, which is represented by these admittedly non-circular game pieces which have 2 modes. You can either display where the zone is going to shift to, or flip onto the reverse side to show an active zone shift as determined by the game progression on the progression board at the top of the map. Anything that relates to this coordinate system is determined by a separate deck of cards which has the compass symbol, and on each card gives a coordinate and a location for an airdrop, a potential zone shift, or where you drop at the very beginning of the game. For example, L2 in this instance would mean this would be my drop location if this was my starting card. Admittedly not a great place to start, but we're not too far away from disaster because we're pretty close to Power Grid, where you can see on the map it is marked with these little loot boxes which indicate where you can place the loot markers. You also have markers for vehicles, which are probably meant to be on roads, but we're freaky nerds, so we just put it on the esports hard spawn, and the supply drops, which can come down either randomly or can be called in with a flare drop if you are lucky enough to be able to find one. All of the loot boxes on the reverse side give you an indicator of which decks to pull from, which loot you're lucky enough to get, whether it's weapons, equipment, or items, and the same thing occurs for vehicles as well. Each one has a different distance that you can travel. For instance, here the buggy, I can move 4 squares by getting into the buggy, and I can dip out of here fast. There's a few different variations of vehicle which can all move different distances, as indicated by the yellow dashes at the bottom, including the motor glider, which is the only vehicle that can be used to travel across water blocks, more specifically on Erangel. So let's say it were my turn and I were to start in this location. I could spend an action to move forwards and then loot this loot box in Power Grid, and then loot from the decks as indicated. I fortunately got a weapon, which is great because at the start of the game you only have fists, just like in the actual game. So we can then head over to the weapons deck and the equipment deck as indicated by the back of the card. So I would get 1 from the weapon deck, 1 from the equipment deck, and 2 items. So first off, we pull the weapon and we've picked up a Mini 14. Much needed at the start of every game. It's so impossible to play this game if you don't have a gun. So this will go into my weapon slot 1, replacing the fists that I had at the start of the game. My loot box also contains the symbol for equipment just once, so I take one from the equipment deck, and I've picked up a level 3 backpack. Typically at the start of the game you can only carry 4 items in your third item slot, but now that I have a level 3 backpack equipped, that limit increases to 8 items in my hand. Speaking of which, my loot box also gave me 2 items, so I can loot from this deck, which can include weapon attachments, grenades, healing items, or single-use items like flare guns or folded bicycles. Weapons for the most part are broken down into categories, so generally all assault rifles will have the same stats and all SMGs, etc. But there are slight differences in terms of the attachment slots. You can use the exact same attachment slots as in the official game, although it's more lenient on what you can actually attach. The weapon statistics are listed at the top. The range of the Mini 14 is between 2 to 3 squares, firing 2 shots, dealing 3 damage on a headshot, 2 to the body, 1 to the legs, with a bonus if you have an attachment on the weapon of 1 additional damage for every leg shot. In contrast, the Micro Uzi has a very high fire rate, but only 1 to 2 range, so just as you would expect that it would work. However, the bonus works a little differently. The bonus you receive if you are within only 1 single square range, you get more damage for headshots on enemies. Hits and damage in this game are determined by dice rolls. If you are the aggressor and you're shooting first using your action on your turn, you will use the red set of dice. These give you a much higher percentage chance of hitting the legs or the body, with 2 sides each respectively, only one side being a complete whiff and one side being a headshot. Should your opponent survive your opening shots, they will get the chance to react, although they will be at a significant disadvantage. There's only 1 single head, body, and leg respectively, and 50% of the chances on the dice are misses. So to resolve combat, all you have to do is make the dice rolls and then look at the respective result of the dice rolls compared to your weapon stats. Here I have 1 headshot, 1 leg shot, so the headshot is 3 damage with a mini, and the legs is 1 damage unless the mini is equipped with any attachment, then it deals a bonus damage. So that's just a quick and rough introduction to how the game works. We decided to get ourselves set up for a 3-player game on Erangel, which features some water tiles on which you can't shoot if you're on one of those tiles, and some long grass which gives you -1 damage to any hit to the legs while standing on one of those respective tiles. I'm playing this game as the girl with a Groza, although sadly I don't get to start with one, I just have my regular old fists. But let's see how this goes. So the board is set up. As you can see, there's a high concentration of loot around Yasnaya, School, and Rozhok, as you would expect. We've got our stacks of cards over on the far side. So now all we have to do is determine our drop locations and where the starting zone will go. So firstly, we pull our starting location cards, and I didn't get the best of pulls. I have very high numbers on all 3 of my cards, so I'm basically in a straight line along the eastern edge of the map, but I do have a couple that are pretty close to Yasnaya, so not bad overall in terms of a looting spot. But last time we played this game, there was a hot drop in Yasnaya, and Cat got killed pretty damn quick and had to wait for a while for the rest of the game to end. So I'm considering my options, but it's looking like Yasnaya is going to be the go. Next we pull our turn order cards. In these, the higher the number, the later in the round you go, but you do get bonus actions if you go later in the round. If you're in the middle of a gunfight, you want a lower number, but that does mean you sacrifice a little bit of flexibility in what you're actually able to do, so maybe having some high numbers is not the best. I really had to think about it now that I've seen my cards, but I do eventually decide, even with the higher numbers, I'm gonna go towards Yasnaya regardless and just risk taking the hot drop. If someone had a lower number, I could be in big trouble, but thankfully for me, nobody is, and I'm all alone in Yasnaya, while over on the far side of the map, all the way in the southwest, there is what looks like a very hectic hot drop in and around School. This could be a very bloody early game for my opponents. But before any potential hot drops, we have to get into the zone starting location, and once again I am blessed by the RNG zone lords, as the zone has hard shifted all the way northeast, giving me full control of the zone, while the others are looking like they're scrapping out in the blue zone in and around School. Lovely stuff. So what I thought might potentially be an issue of only having relatively high numbered action cards actually turns out in my favor, because I can just take the free actions and do a little bit more looting while I'm over here by myself. Now, unsurprisingly, over there in the Hot Drop City, Cat drops a number 1 card. No free actions, but it's so important to get a gun. If she could grab a gun now, she gets the chance to shoot, and there's no opportunity to be shot back because her opponent simply does not have a gun. So really solid play. If you're in a Hot Drop scenario, put those early numbers down and start blasting away before they can do anything about it. But annoyingly, that's not what happens. They kind of mutually agree to go their separate ways. Maybe they're not too happy that I'm getting hard fed again, so they're just going to do their looting and make their way over to the zone. There was no exchange of gunfire. I would probably call that teaming, but I mean, hey, I don't make the rules, I guess. -2 points for both of them. So my turn comes around, I just shuffle a little bit deeper into Yasnaya and start looting up. I get a pretty godlike pull on my first one, getting myself a level 3 backpack for tons of utility, an M4, and an attachment for the M4 as well, and a whole bunch of armor, flashbangs, and a little bit of healing as well. And then I end my turn by starting to move myself into a slightly more aggressive position towards the western side of Yasnaya, so I can maybe start making a move on the next turn. I really wanted to get aggressive and start pushing towards the others to hold them out of the zone, but sadly my next action card pull was an equally low number as the others, so I simply did not get the chance to get over there and start shooting at them before they could get into the blue zone. Unfortunate. On the bright side, my equipment for this point in the game is looking really solid, and there's a whole lot more loot available in my area, so I can always grab more and then get aggressive when they start to make their move. Hopefully they'll be a little bit beaten up if they start fighting outside of the blue zone. So, as another turn went by and there was no shots exchanged, I was really hoping that the bullets were going to start flying at some point soon and they would soften each other up before I got involved in the fight, but it seems like they have other ideas, as Cat deployed her folded bicycle and simply ran away from the fight. And then to make matters worse, she uses another single-use item to drop a supply crate on top of herself. Doesn't work the same as in the game. You can call them in anytime outside the blue zone. Simply doesn't matter. So now my aggressive plan of getting in there and starting taking shots before they can shoot back is looking like a pretty terrible idea. But as the old saying goes, mama didn't raise no bitch, so I take my very high-numbered 31 card, which includes a potential free move option, and just beeline directly across the field straight into their faces. So as soon as they start to make their entrance in from the blue zone, which as we are now entering turn 3 has activated, and they will be taking damage per turn that they are outside the safe zone, means that I'm in a really good defensive position to start taking shots at them upon arrival. We draw our next action cards and I get a pretty decent number. A number 9 gives me a good chance of going early on. There's also a vehicle right in front of me, so I can take some shots and back away. And then we pull the next zone card, and it's sadly directly where they're coming in. But that does mean they're going to have to start moving towards me, but one of them is going to have an airdrop crate, so it's a bit sketchy. We also pull our card for our random airdrop supply crate, which is also annoyingly directly where they're coming in, and so things are looking really weird if one of them tries to get up close and get aggressive. So I'm going to play my early card. I have one free action. It's a loot action. It's not amazing, but there is loot on the block that I'm currently standing on, so it could potentially be useful. However, one of the other players has put down a number 5, and he runs over and steals away the airdrop crate that was called in by Cat. What a little rat. It's a super bold, aggressive move, and it puts him directly in one square away from Cat, and that's all of his actions gone. He never got the chance to shoot the gun. She could shoot him for free. She could move into the blue zone and try and keep him there. So I'm going to move forward and get involved in this fight. I'm going to use my free loot action to pick up the guns from the supply crate. I don't know if you're supposed to loot 2 and keep 2, but that's the rules that we were playing. So I now have an MG3 and an MK14, so even more cracked. However, I was aware that my other action card numbers were a bit rubbish, and Cat still had a turn to go on this turn as well, so I decided to back away a little bit and not get overly aggressive. I still only have a level 1 helmet, and now that I've got all these valuable weapons, that's a pretty big target on my head, because if they kill me, I do drop my loot box and they can simply pick them back up. So I hop back over to that vehicle that was in front of me, grab the buggy, and simply disappear, leaving them to fight alone in the blue zone once again. Okay, you could call this a cowardly move, but I think I made the right choice, considering Cat just immediately whipped out a DBS and started absolutely pumping shots. 4 shots from a DBS within 1 range is absolutely lethal, and she hit every single one. Yeah, I didn't want to be holding too close up against that. Fortunately, he did manage to grab himself at least a vest and a helmet before getting involved in this, but the durability on that vest has just absolutely tanked. And he does get a chance to shoot back, but what does he have in store? He stole away the airdrop crate, so he whips out an MG3 of his own and starts firing shots back. 2 of them whiff completely, 1 lands a headshot, 1 lands a shot to the legs, and that fight out in the blue zone has finally kicked off. I was hoping to hold this out for a while, now it seems I've got a chance. Kat uses her next action to move a little bit further away and then takes shots with her secondary weapon, the SKS, which she has equipped with a silencer, which removes the ability to shoot back. So this is all free damage, and a headshot landed again. That level 1 vest is completely popped, and because the SKS has an attachment on it, it's bonus damage dealt as well. This is absolutely brutal. Round 3 comes to a close, and he's popping bandages out in the blue zone. Both of them are going to take more damage once again, as they did not manage to get into the safe zone, whereas me, I'm just chilling. I'm in the center of the next safe zone. I'm out of any sort of dangerous threat range. They still have to come to me. I'm looking good. I've still got more loot if I need it, but the zone is shrinking, and a lot of it is water as well. So we draw our next action cards, and predictably I get another pretty middle of the pack number, but that's honestly fine by me because I'm just kind of interested to see how this goes. I'm happy to be the third party for now, and it looks as though we're gonna have an aggressive move, as he will take a step back, grab the Dacia, and maybe make a play to get into the circle, but actually cuts himself a little bit short. Doesn't take the full range of motion that you get with the Dacia. He's actually going to stop a little bit ahead of Kat and try to take the engagement while she's out in the blue zone. It's a bold move, but he has powerful weapons, and she doesn't have a helmet right now, but she does have a level 3 vest. All he needs to do is hit some headshots with this MG3. He's got 4 chances. The damage is insane from this range, and when he takes all 4 of his shots, he hits a lot, but not a single one of them to the head. He's got 2 leg shots, 1 body shot, so the damage is super minimal. A little bit of chip damage with the leg shots, but that level 3 vest in Kat's back pocket is just going to absorb all of that damage. Couldn't land those crucial headshots, but she gets the chance to shoot back. Having looted a Vector on her turn, she takes 4 shots. 1 of them's a headshot again, because of course it is, and the other one gets damage done as well. But this little skirmish is not over yet, as his final action of the turn, he's going to throw a grenade over towards Kat, where you roll 3 dice, and for every different icon that you are shown, deals 1 damage, which is completely unblockable. Vest, helmet, means nothing. He rolls 2 damage and brings Kat down to a very manageable 4 hit points. Then on her turn, she pops a first aid and then immediately loots an airdrop crate and pulls a level 3 helmet, which essentially doubles her health bar, makes her pretty much impervious to headshots, and that is the last thing that we wanted to see when we're looking at potentially third partying to try and clean up this fight. But I've been standing around waiting for so long, it's time to get involved in the fight, so I'm going to put this MK and the tactical stock to use. Doesn't matter whether or not you can actually equip that in the game, it's in the same slot. So in the board game, a tactical stock works perfectly fine, and if I just hit 1 headshot, it would have been 5 damage, but all I was hitting with legs. But thankfully, the MG3 returning fire was much of the same, so all I lose is 1 health point. I was hoping that would kill him, but I'm just going to try and finish the job with the MG3, put another few shots in, get a couple of body shots. Still can't land that headshot though. It's not enough to get the job done. It does some pretty decent damage, but he's still able to shoot back. But once again, the MG3s are just whiffing today. He hits 1 more damage in the legs, so I just pop a bandage and step back. And with that, we finish this round. The blue zone shifts once again, and unfortunately for our good friend over there, he's outside of the blue zone. He does have an active painkiller, so he gets 1 health back, but the blue zone has shifted enough that it's 2 damage per tick now, and that is just enough to take him over the edge and leave him dead. Our reward for killing off an opponent is simply one of the most insane Phase 4 shifts of all time in the history of PUBG, and we get a nice airdrop crate directly in the middle of the river, which is now the entire play zone. So basically, between me and Kat, it's down to a 1 versus 1, and we've got about 2 squares of space to actually try and do anything with. It's not looking good, Brev. However, we are throwing a potential lifeline as our next action card is a very low number indeed. We've already seen quite a few numbers lower than 6 played, so I'm confident that this can get me the first action of this turn. And if I can just land a couple of headshots and get some big damage, I might just be able to take out Cat before she gets the chance to shoot back. Plot twist, just before we lock in our moves, I decide to take a slightly more conservative option. Let her take the first move, let her take the initiative with the lower number of 8 and see what she does. There's only a couple of spaces left, and if she does go for that airdrop crate, she's very close to getting in the water, and that is exactly what she does. But she does have a free loot action with number 8, so she is able to grab it and just about stick in a zone where she can shoot her guns back. This is, of course, a little irritating because the discrepancy in our equipment is getting more noticeable. I still have my level 1 helmet, and she has just gone over there and picked up her second loot crate of the game and come out of it with a ghillie suit, which reduces damage taken as well. So, strategizing before I go completely all in, I take the time to loot this building on my way towards the zone, and honestly, what an idea this was. I get myself a level 3 vest, and more importantly, 2 items, both of which are Molotovs. Insane. And now feeling confident with my new stash, I step up to the plate and start raining fire down. Molotovs are crazy strong. They're unblockable damage, guaranteed 1 damage on impact, and then 1 again at the end of the game round. However, since mine is the final turn this round, it's basically just instantly 2 damage for free, which she can do absolutely nothing about, regardless of the level 3 vest, helmet, and the ghillie suit. And to make things even better, as we pull what might be our final action cards, I get another extremely low number, which practically guarantees that I will be getting the first shots this round. I get to take the first shots. I have the advantage. I have the higher percentage dice. I have 2 Molotovs in my hand. One of them has already dealt 2 damage. I've got 1 more as well. And this is the face of a woman who doesn't know what's about to hit her. I start off by picking number 6 because it has a free item use action, which I immediately use to toss my second Molotov for what is essentially 2 guaranteed damage, although it depends whether I survive this round. 1 guaranteed damage now and 1 more at the end if I'm still alive. She doesn't look too happy about that, but I'm sorry, I'm trying to win. That's the point of the game. And then it's time to pull out the MK14, once again hoping for those headshots. As you can see, my equipment is still not looking ideal. It's 2 shots for the MK14. We take the chance, we roll the dice, and we come up with a huge no headshots. We have 1 body shot, which does a little bit of damage to the durability of the vest and nothing else, and 1 leg shot, which deals 1 damage to the legs, but she's got a ghillie suit, which reduces leg shot damage by 1, so 0 damage dealt overall, and now she gets the chance to shoot back as well. And would you fucking believe it, she headshot me again. She's rolled nothing but headshots. This time it's with an AK as well, so it does a ton of damage. My level 1 helmet immediately gets popped off, completely gone. This is why I was worried about the equipment disadvantage I was coming into this fight with, but it's not over yet. I still have 1 more weapon to shoot, but she gets the chance to shoot back for that as well. If these headshots keep coming, I'm in serious trouble. But at this point in the game, I have neither the time nor space to run away, so I take the only move I can, which is maybe the most aggressive move possible. I step forwards, and then with my final action, my final stamina of the turn, I once again pull out the MG3, which has a bonus damage to headshots. 3 additional damage if you are within 1 square of your target. We are within 1 square. 1 headshot would deal 5 damage. Just a couple of headshots and this game might be over right here and right now, but the MG3s have not been rolling well at all, and once again, no headshots. A whole bunch of body shots though. Surely that's enough to pop the vest. The leg shot is completely ignored once again by the ghillie suit, but it's only 1 damage per shot, so no, the vest completely tanks everything. Oh no, it's not looking good. She gets the chance to shoot back. She could kill me right now. But it seems some luck has finally gone our way, as for the first time ever, Cat has whiffed both of her return shots. She's been hitting nothing but headshots, but this time, no dice. And so Cat's turn rolls around once again, and she decides that since we're in melee, she's going to swing a pan at me. And obviously, because it's Cat we're talking about, she rolls a headshot on a 1 in 6 chance. And I don't have a helmet anymore. That's 3 damage guaranteed onto me. I can't be tanking shots like this. This is insane. But once again, I have an opportunity to win the game, as all of her armor is completely shredded. All I have to do is land 2 shots anywhere but the legs, because the ghillie suit still reduces that. 2 shots, returning fire with the MG3, and I land 2 body shots. The vest is gone. She had a helmet as well. She would have tanked it. But those 2 body shots is exactly what I needed just to get that final tick of damage. And Cat is finally defeated after all of that. What an absolute tank she was with all that 3 gear and the ghillie suit and a pan as well. She was pretty much impossible to damage at the end, but we get it over the line with the MG3 and we get to flip over our card for the winner chicken dinner for the 2nd time in a row. Come on, boys. And just for fun, we decided to see that had I not been able to take her out with my return fire, would she have killed me with her AK? I have 6 hit points left. 1 headshot is 3 damage, and all she would need is 2 headshots, and of course, because it's Cat, she gets 2 headshots. She would have killed me if I hadn't killed her first. Lucky boy I am, but winner chicken dinner secured. What a fun game. This game is actually so much fun. We still haven't played the Miramar side. We might try that at some point in the future. It has a couple of different mechanics. It has like a high ground mechanic. Seemed pretty complicated, so we decided to once again go for the Erangel. But it's 2 dubs for me, baby. And both times I ran away from hot drops, stayed safe on the other side of the zone, and got hard fed. GG's everyone. Thanks for watching.